Well, it seems like a short week away with the family and we've come back to autumn. Yes, things definitely feel different now. Summer, that vibrant crescendo of colour, drama, leaves, seems to have faded, just slightly mellowing now into the beautiful autumnal coziness. This time of year is one of my favourites. I love the colour, I love the lower sun, and I just love the way that we really appreciate every day, every bit of sun, because we don't know what's around the corner. In today's video, I'm going to look at some new plants that I bought recently, because the best way to get over any of the negative elements of the upcoming season is to buy new plants, isn't it? Let's face it. Today, I want to look at some plants which will not go gently into that good night, and a couple near the end which, let's just say, you probably won't be surprised what I bought. So let's get into it. This video then might just seem like an amateurish show and tell, looking at some plants that I bought for autumn colour and then some real evergreen interest later on, but that is basically what it is, all it's time for this weekend. And as I head out this morning to film some little clips that you've seen at the beginning, I actually put a hoodie on for the first time since very early spring. Even Harriet, our 2-year-old, nearly 3-year-old daughter, said, "Daddy, what's that?" And she looked surprised I've actually got my arms covered. But things are definitely getting a little bit crispy, a little bit chilly, aren't they, in the mornings? I don't know about you, but I really enjoy that side of things this time of the year. Cool mornings, beautiful sun. Maybe not when you're watching this, but you know, we can always live for that beautiful autumnal dream, can't we? Although she did actually say she can wear one of these when she's a big girl, so I'm sure deep down she's actually mocking me there. But anyway, waffling aside, it's now time to look at our first plant I've bought for autumn colour. And it's one that some of you who've watched my channel for quite a long time might recognise from my trip to Pan Global Plants. Yes, it's none other than this, Miscanthus sinensis Rosi, or Rosi, depending how you want to pronounce it. This is a beautiful Miscanthus. This particular example might look a bit floppy. I actually kept it here in my shady jungle area for most of the summer. Then when we went away, I moved it closer to the house to put it in a tray of water. It's a beautiful plant, slightly stressed now, and you can really see it's brought out that gorgeous maroon colour. Miscanthus are one of the biggest and the best grasses. If you enjoy an exotic jungle look or simply having a more exciting border, plant for the back, plant for the front, plant for the middle, plant for anywhere, there's a Miscanthus for that spot in your garden. For me, this grass is possibly superior to Giganteus, not because of its total size, but because of this beautiful autumn colour. And something that I'm keen to develop in my garden, and a few new areas I'll be developing possibly next year, is basically to introduce more seasonality to the garden. I've got my big summer display, I've got the big leaves, I've got the winter interest. So now really for me, a bit more vibrancy in spring and a whole lot more beauty in autumn are my focuses. And this Miscanthus certainly ticks the autumn box. It's got a beautiful burgundy claret colour. The normally green leaves burnish with this real maroon beauty. I love this grass, and I possibly should have bought it even earlier, but I've got a few pots of it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this does in the ground, because Miscanthus, when you plant them out, they settle in very, very quickly. Sure, it'll need to be cut down in spring, but next year I expect a big clump even from quite a small plant, but a beautiful plant indeed, and one which can certainly create a proper bit of drama in your garden. But anyway, on the subject of autumn colour, let's go on to the next plant. A lot of this jungle part of my garden then, it's a harmonious blend of greens, 51 shades of green to be precise, but in a few of the gardens that I've visited, colour really comes to the forefront more, and that's something that I really want to include more of in my garden. Yes, I love the beautiful, flowing, relaxing nature that green brings to a garden. It really helps create this naturalistic style, even with exotic or exciting plants. But for a couple of the gardens that I've been to in particular, such as the Secret Garden of Louth and Shane Bilson's garden, I'll put links to both videos in the description below, the use of colour really helps make the whole garden pop. So as much as I want to keep parts of the garden like this, a real blend of beautiful greens, I definitely want some colour. And in my recent video to Shane's in particular, having Shane really emphasise the importance of a backdrop of purples, those darker reds and burgundies, really helps set off brighter, variegated or silvery leaf plants in front. So that's where these next ones come in. The first one, Cotinus, and it's Grace. Yes, a beautiful plant. This one a little bit greener, but I suspect most of the leaves will age to a purple colour. Now, these are deciduous, but the reason why I've gone for this plant here, well, not this particular one, look at that. Didn't even get any money off that either, did I? Obviously I tried. But this beautiful Cotinus, For me, these are a filler plant, but they're certainly also a thriller. They've got these beautiful big leaves, and I think these fit in with the whole exotic look. Whatever the style of your garden, a Cotinus is a great choice. And for me, I'll be using these as a back of border kind of plant in a project which I'll hopefully be able to share with you a bit more about in the next few months anyway. I just love the look of them. You've got this really purple red colour to the stems, and for me, it's all about the leaves. I just love them. They've got that beautiful bright red colour to the stems, and then you've got the leaves. They're big enough to be exciting and fit in with a lot of the exotics, but for me, these leaves really come alive when the sun catches the back of them. Definitely check out my videos over at the Seeking Garden of Louth, where you'll see these plants lit up, illuminated, surrounded by exotic plants from all around the world. These plants hold their own. You can chop them back hard and they will keep growing. I know a lot of people grow Cotinus purely for the flowers, that whole smoke rush effect, but for me, it's the foliage. And this is a plant which definitely comes to the forefront. It really burns brightly in autumn. So again, for me, it's a way of creating a bit more colour contrast, a bit more depth in the garden. Having purples at the back makes it seem further away and highlights the brighter plants in front. So this Cotinus Grace is one that I'm really looking forward to introducing. But I haven't just stopped there, have I? Obviously. Yes, this beauty is, well, pretty much an old-fashioned, traditional classic. This is Cotinus Royal Purple. As you can see, it's a darker, richer colour altogether, as the Royal Purple name suggests. This burgundy maroon classic, you can already see some of the variegation on it. There is actually some white markings in the leaves. That's just from the tap water they used to water it over at Brook Garden Centre I got these two from. But this really is going to be a lovely shrub. Now these do want to get big, they need the space, but they can create beautiful height or wall of colour. And again, it's seeing these leaves with the sun shining through them that really makes these kind of plants just pop, deserve a place in the garden. I, for one, focus my garden and garden design too much on specimen plants, the focal points, because those are the plants that I love. And my garden was never really supposed to be a beautiful garden. It's more of a collection of the plants that I enjoy growing in the places that I want to grow them. But plants like this here have definitely got their own beauty, a captivating glory that captures the light. And for me, they'll be a perfect backdrop to a lot of my big leaved exotics in front. So I'm looking forward to getting this one in the ground. Again, very vigorous, very beautiful autumn colour, but something that I think will pair very well with my exotics here. So let's get on to the next one. Next up then, and on a very similar theme, we've got this slightly inconspicuous looking plant. You wouldn't really think much about it, would you? Well, this plant, as that glorious birdsong there echoes in the distance, this plant is Euonymus, alatus, compactus. Now, this doesn't look much right now. I'm definitely open to that. But the glorious red colour of this spindle is something else. As you can see from the label there, it has beautiful maroon leaves in early autumn, which then come to a vivid crescendo of glorious scarlet colour. Again, a plant which is purely for me all about the autumn colour, but a beautiful little shrub regardless. Called Compactus, a lot of places say that it'll grow to about 1 metre by 1.5 metres, but I suspect more likely around 2 by 2 metres, forming quite a big dome. Think something like a small Japanese maple, and this has certainly got the autumn colour to rival one of those. And this might seem like a bit of a random choice in my garden. For me, this plant, as beautiful as it is in autumn, doesn't really deserve a place, right at the front of one of these borders. It can't really compete with some of these huge, oversized, in-your-face exotics. But where this plant comes in, for me, I've been looking for a plant that I can combine with the blue bamboos. This plant, you won't see it in its final spot till maybe some point next year. But this, probably paired with the Japanese maple, which can also rival this beauty for autumn colour. I think I've just got something in my head, a little moment, a little snapshot, a part of the year, seeing the red leaves of this, the red leaves of a Japanese maple, combined with the blues of a gorgeous Burinda bamboo. It's a contrast which maybe doesn't make sense on paper, but in my head, it's a beautiful moment that I want to capture here in my garden. And having a shrub like this, which maybe doesn't scream anything straight away, you can already see the leaves are just turning a little bit purpley now. They don't look much. I mean, you've got the beautiful sort of stem structure. They create this really weird sort of bladed effect. But overall, I think this is a plant I'm going for just to capture one specific moment of the year. and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, don't worry too much. I'm not changing my channel to George's Autumnal Wonderland anytime soon. It's certainly going to be jungle garden, exotics, and a few experimental bits first and foremost. But for me, I've really thought this year, I've actually looked forward to autumn. Not just because of how dry summer's been and how much I've had to water, but mainly because, for me, autumn is such a special moment. The sun is lower. The light makes the garden just look so much more magical. And for me, it's a time of the year that I just really appreciate. I like the cooler temperatures in the morning. I love the sort of bountiful feast that's displayed in the hedgerows, the trees, and I love the way the autumn colour in the leaves really matches and meets my garden as those fiery summer plants are coming to their biggest and the best for the whole year. I just love this time of the year. And for me, it's all about just adding a little bit more to that time. You know, just making it a little bit more special. As well as now most of the garden is essentially planted up, it's creating those little bits of seasonal interest, not just for the sake of ticking a box, but to make going out into the garden at different times through the year an exciting experience. As well as that, I've really spotted in my garden here a need for a few filler plants in the right places. Plants which can just drop into the background for most of the year, but all help create this lush overall kind of vibe. But then when it's their time to shine, they really shine. And autumn for me is a great time for that. But on that note, I have bought some plants which are definitely not just about autumn. It's a palm. Yes, I know I've kept you waiting. Trachycarpus princeps. These gorgeous palms. I've already got one. I have got a few of the Trachycarpus princeps hybrids dotted around the garden, but these are pure princeps. And I've not just bought one, I've bought 3 of them. Yes, I will be growing a trio with these beauties. Such a glorious palm. The king of Trachycarpus. I mean, just look at that beautiful underside of the leaves. Silvery, pale, ghostly blue, a glorious, I mean, just look at it. What a plant. For me, these are a palm which, although they're slow growing, are well worth persisting with. And every time I see them growing somewhere or on Facebook, Yorkshire Chris has got a couple of fantastic examples. You see these leaves. For me, they're such a beautiful contrast, somewhere in the middle between a waggy and the normal Fortunii, but with a stiffer kind of look, that pale blue underside to the leaves, they just look sensational. And I want a few here in my garden. Yes, the other plants I've shown you are all about burning bright embers of autumn colour. This plant is completely different. This will look fantastic in the middle of summer, grown well with other exotics. It'll look fantastic in autumn. This pale colour contrasting beautifully with the reds of the Cotinus, that Miscanthus Rosi beautiful red. I think though, these plants really come alive in winter. Tough, hardy, and they just look exquisite with a frost on them. So that's possibly the main reason why I bought these. Let's be honest, I didn't really need any more palms, but I've got a spot for a trio. Probably 1 or 2 spots left, and a trio with these, you know, it just had to happen. If you want to get your own princeps, you can get these from Hardy Palms. I believe Nigel's got a couple of sizes, or if you live local to me in North Lincolnshire, Paul over at Linden Nurseries has got a whole batch in. He's got these and he's got some that are a little bit larger. But for me, in terms of budget these days, I went for the smaller ones. And what will I be doing with these? Will I be planting them out now? No. Unlike the hardy plants I've shown you, although possibly autumn would be okay for these in more sheltered areas, I'll be potting these up, moving them to a polytunnel or greenhouse over winter where they can just keep ticking over. So I might still get a couple months growth out of these yet this year. And then in next spring, I probably won't plant them out till maybe around April time. So again, February, March, April, they've got some more growing time to go. So I'm definitely going to pot these up into a little bit bigger pot, let those roots spread out a little bit more. Nothing too big because I don't want the plant to be sat in a cold, wet tub of compost. But for me, there's definitely scope, as these roots are already pushing at the bottom, to get a little bit more growth ready for next spring when I finally plant these beauties out. As I've talked about in the past, I found the best size to plant Trachycarpus out to really be around the 10 litre to 30 litre pot, possibly a bit bigger than this, with around 1 foot, 30 centimetres of trunk. This one's not going to be quite that size, but princeps are a little bit more slow growing. I think this size is a great time to buy them because you've got past all the problems with canker that they can have when they're very small seedlings. You've got a beautiful little plant here. I just want it to get a little bit bigger before I plant it out here in our cold North Lincolnshire garden. But I think this will hopefully be a beautiful feature in my garden, 3 of them even more so in the years to come. A lovely palm, just to show you that I'm not going completely autumn crazy. But anyway, that's some new plants I've bought recently. Some beautiful autumn colour, some gorgeous fillers, thrillers and everything to help set my garden up through the summer months and beyond. But this palm really is something for all the seasons. So, hope you've enjoyed this quick rambling look at some of my purchases. Please let me know in the comments below, what plants have you bought recently to really make you feel that we're not just going downhill into winter? Things can certainly be alive right now, and you should be adding some more amazing plants to your garden. Don't let the cold weather stop you. Get out to a garden centre, see what they've got. Let me know what you go for in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all later. Bye.